This is CGTN, China Global Television Network.
UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson is moved into intensive care as his coronavirus infection worsens. Italy reports 3,600 new cases, its lowest figure in 20 days. And the WHO says Africa will not be a testing ground for coronavirus vaccine. Hello and welcome to Africa Live here on CGTN. I'm Mahia Mutua in Nairobi. Let's check out what else is coming up over the next hour. In business, Zimbabwe's informal traders ask the government to allow them to sell goods during the current lockdown. And in sports, physiotherapists speak of their worries as the COVID-19 pandemic bites. We begin with the latest on the coronavirus pandemic. Globally, the total number of confirmed cases has surpassed 1.3 million. More than 74,000 people have died. Cases in the United States have surged to over 368,000, over a quarter of the global total. Over 1,300 new deaths were reported there in the past 24 hours, bringing the total to nearly 11,000. More than half of all global cases are in Europe, but Spain's pace of new deaths slowed for a fourth day on Monday, and Italy's daily increase in new cases fell again with its lowest number in 20 days. China reported no fatalities on Monday for the first time since January. Now, Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe on Tuesday declared a state of emergency to fight new coronavirus infections in major population centers, while also unveiling a stimulus package he described as the world's biggest to soften the economic blow.
それでは安倍総理、よろしくお願いいたします。はい。まず冒頭、全国各地の医師、看護師、看護助手、病院スタッフの皆さん、そしてクラスター対策に携わる保健所や専門家、臨床検査技師の皆さんに、日本国民を代表して心より感謝申し上げます。新型コロナウイルスとの戦いのまさに最前線で、強い責任感を持って、今この瞬間も一人でも多くの命を救うため、献身的な努力をしてくださっていることに、これからの敬意を表したいと思います。世界全体ですでに6万人以上が死亡した、この過酷なウイルスとの戦いにおいて、確かな技術と高い使命感を持った医療従事者の皆さんの存在は、私たち全員を勇気づけてくれるものです。本当にありがとうございます。感染リスクと背中合わせの厳しい状況も恐れず、ベストを尽くしてくださっている皆さんを支えるため、できることはすべてやっていきたい。医療現場を守るため、あらゆる手を尽くします。感染予防に欠かせない医療物資について、国内での増産を進めています。電機メーカーなど異業種の力も借りながら、さらに提供体制を強化していきます。軽症者や症状のない感染者の皆さんは、医療機関ではなく宿泊施設などで療養いただくことで、医療機関の負担を軽減します。ホテルチェーンにご協力をいただき、関東で1万室、関西で3000室を確保しました。日本財団も臨時の施設建設を進めてくださっています。これらを活用させていただき、医療支援を 重症者対応に振り向けることで、病院の機能維持を図ります。ただ、こうした努力を重ねても、東京や大阪など、都市部を中心に感染者が急増しており、病床数は明らかに限界に近づいています。医療従事者の皆さんの肉体的、精神的な負担も大きくなっており、医療現場はまさに危機的な状況です。現状では、まだ全国的かつ急速な蔓延には至っていないとしても、医療提供体制が逼迫している地域が生じていることを踏まえれば、もはや時間の猶予はないとの結論に至りました。この状況は、国民生活及び国民経済に甚大な影響を及ぼす恐れがあると判断いたしました。本日はこの記者会見に、尾身先生にも同席いただいておりますが、先ほど諮問委員会のご賛同も得ましたので、特別措置法第32条に基づき、緊急事態宣言を発出することといたします。対象となる範囲は、関東の1都3県、東京都、神奈川県、千葉県、埼玉県、関西の大阪府と兵庫県、そして九州の福岡県であります。最も感染者が多い東京都では、政府として今月中を目途に五輪関係施設を改修し、800名規模で軽症者を受け入れる施設を整備する予定です。今回の緊急事態宣言に伴い、必要があれば、ここに自衛隊などの医療スタッフを動員し、特別措置法48条に基づく臨時の医療施設として活用することも可能であると考えています。医療への負荷を抑えるために、最も重要なことは、感染者の数を拡大させないことです。そしてそのためには何よりも、国民の皆様の行動変容、つまり行動を変えることが大切です。特別措置法上の権限はあくまで都道府県の知事が行使するものでありますが、政府として関東の1都3県、大阪府と兵庫県、そして福岡県の皆様には、特別措置法45条第1項に基づき、生活の維持に必要な場合を除き、みだりに外出しないよう要請すべきと考えます。事態は切迫しています。東京都では感染者の累計が1000人を超えました。足元では5日で2倍になるペースで感染者が増加を続けており、このペースで感染拡大が続けば、2週間後には1万人、1ヶ月後には8万人を超えることとなります。しかし、専門家の試算では、私たち全員が努力を重ね、人と人との接触機会を最低7割、極力8割削減することができれば、2週間後には感染者の増加をピークアウトさせ、減少に転じさせることができます。そうすれば、爆発的な感染者の増加を回避できるだけでなく、クラスター対策による封じ込めの可能性も出てくると考えます。その効果を見極める期間も含め、ゴールデンウィークが終わる5月6日までの1ヶ月に限定して、7割から8割削減を目指し、外出自粛をお願いいたします。 繰り返しになりますが、この緊急事態を1ヶ月で脱出するためには、人と人との接触を7割から8割削減することが前提です。これは並大抵のことではありません。これまでもテレワークの実施などをお願いしてまいりましたが、社会機能を維持するために必要な職種を除き、オフィスでの仕事は原則自宅で行えるようにしていただきたいと思います。どうしても出勤が必要な場合も、ローテーションを組むなどによって出勤者の数を最低7割は減らす、時差出勤を行う、人の距離を十分に取るといった取り組みを実施いただけるよう、すべての事業者の皆様にお願いいたします。レストランなどの営業にあたっても、換気の徹底、お客さん同士の距離を確保するなどの対策をお願いします。学校休校が長期化しますが、オンラインなどで学習できる環境整備を地域と協力して加速します。電話、オンラインでの診療も初診も含めて解禁することとしました。病院での感染リスクを恐れる皆さんに、これを積極的に活用いただくことで、受診を我慢するといった事態が生じないようにします。その上で、生活必需品の買い物など、どうしても外出する場合には、密閉、密集、密接、3つの密を避ける行動を徹底していただくよう、改めてお願いいたします。今まで通り、外に出て散歩をしたり、ジョギングをすることは何ら問題ありません。他方で、3つの密がより濃厚な形で重なるバー、ナイトクラブ、カラオケ、ライブハウスへの出入りは控えてください。集会やイベントを避け、飲み会やもとより家族以外の多人数での会食も行わないようお願いいたします。この感染症の恐ろしい点は、発熱などの症状が全くないにもかかわらず、感染している人が多いことです。そして、知らず知らずのうちに、周囲の人に移してしまうことで拡大していくという点です。すでに自分は感染者かもしれないという意識を、特に若い皆さんを中心に、すべての皆さんに持っていただきたい。外出する際にも人混みを避け、他の人との距離を保つ、飛沫を飛ばさないようにマスクをつけるなどの行動をお願いいたします。そのことが他の人の命を守ることになります。そしてひいては自分の命を守ることになります。国民の皆様のご協力をお願いいたします。緊急事態としての措置を講ずる以上、当然、経済活動への大きな影響は避けられません。もとより、今でも多くの中小小規模事業者の皆さんが、事業継続に大きな支障を生じておられます。世界経済だけでなく、日本経済が今まさに戦後最大の危機に直面している、そう言っても過言ではありません。その強い危機感のもとに、雇用と生活は断じて守り抜いていく。そのために GDP の2割に当たる事業規模108兆円、世界的にも最大級の経済対策を実施することといたしました。困難に直面しているご家族や中小 小規模事業者の皆さんには、総額6兆円を超える現金給付を行います。1世帯当たり30万円に加え、次の児童手当支払いに合わせ、1人当たり1万円を追加することで、お子さんの多いご家庭の家計もしっかりと下支えします。日本経済を支える屋台骨は、中小・小規模事業者の皆さんです。本当に苦しい中でも、今、歯を食いしばって頑張っておられる皆さんこそ、日本の底力です。皆さんの声は、私たちに届いています。皆さんの努力を決して無にしてはならない。その思いのもとに史上初めて、事業者向けの給付金制度を創設しました。売上が大きく減った中堅・中小法人に200万円、個人事業主に100万円支給します。固定資産税も減免します。消費税などの納税に加え、社会保険料の支払いは1年間猶予いたします。当然、延滞金はかかりません。26兆円規模の猶予を実施することで、手元資金を事業継続のために回していただけるようにいたしました。民間の地方銀行、信用金庫、信用組合でも実質無利子・無担保、最大5年間元本返済据え置きの融資が受けられるようにします。さらには、雇用調整助成金の助成率を過去最大まで引き上げるなど、考えうる政策手段を総動員して、国民の皆様と共に、この戦後最大の危機を乗り越えていく決意であります。
Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe there speaking live from Tokyo, where he has in effect declared a state of emergency in the country as Japan continues to fight new coronavirus infections, especially in major population centers. Moving to Europe now, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has been moved to an intensive care unit after his coronavirus symptoms worsened. Johnson was taken to St. Thomas's Hospital in central London on Sunday night. He is undergoing tests after suffering persistent symptoms for more than 10 days. While Johnson's symptoms have gotten worse, his Downing Street office says he is still conscious. Since his diagnosis, Johnson has carried on leading the government's efforts while teleconferencing from self-isolation. Britain has no formal succession plan should the Prime Minister become incapacitated, but a spokesman for Johnson's office says he asked Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab to deputise for him where necessary. On Monday, Raab stood in for Johnson at the government's emergency meeting on COVID-19. Right now, for more on this, we are joined live by CGTN's Nicole Johnston for an update on the Prime Minister's condition. Nicole, what is the status at this time of Prime Minister Johnson's condition?
Well, Downing Street has said that the Prime Minister is receiving oxygen at the moment, but while he's in intensive care, he's not yet on a ventilator, which would be the next step. As you said, he was sent to hospital on Sunday. They said it was routine tests. His condition has clearly deteriorated, and thus the move on Monday night into intensive care. Downing Street isn't releasing a great deal of information about his condition, though they are trying to keep people somewhat updated. You can almost understand that in many ways the government wants to maintain the notion that it's in control of the situation, to instill confidence in the British people that the government is running and functioning as normal. Boris Johnson, while he had been in self-isolation, had been continuing to run the government. As you said, he was conducting conferences via a video link, but we could see every few days he would release a video message, and he was clearly having trouble shaking off those symptoms. He looked very unwell, and now we're at this stage where he is in intensive care getting around-the-clock treatment, and the British people will be paying very close attention to how this progresses over the next few days. The Prime Minister's fiancée, who's pregnant, is also self-isolating at the moment because she has had the symptoms of coronavirus as well, though she's not been tested.
And Nicole, who will lead the government at this time while the Prime Minister continues treatment?
As you said, it's the Foreign Secretary, Dominic Raab, who has moved into that position. He's the first Secretary of State. There was no Deputy Prime Minister in the UK, so Boris Johnson had to nominate somebody who would step into that role if he was in a position whereby he could no longer lead the government. So this is an acting position for Dominic Raab. He is meeting with the Cabinet this morning. There'll be some big decisions to make in 1 week's time. The country has been under lockdown for 2 weeks. The government said that it would review that decision after 3 weeks, but many of the other larger decisions with regards to the economy had already been made. The country has a $400 billion plan to try and give businesses assistance, as well as paying 80% of the wages for furloughed workers. So that will go ahead. It will be Dominic Raab's job to make sure that the processes are put in place, and in 1 week's time there will be that decision to make on whether the lockdown should continue. Most people here believe that it will continue.
And finally, do tell us more about the supply of ventilators in the UK. Does the country have enough at this time to cope with the number of coronavirus patients being admitted to hospital?
The UK, or the National Health Service, in fact, has around 8,000 ventilators. They can access another 1,000 ventilators from private institutions in the country. So that's 9,000. They've ordered another 8,000, but there's no delivery date yet. They say that they need 30,000 potentially to cope with the peak of this outbreak, this crisis, and that peak is expected to be reached possibly this weekend. So looking at those figures, it doesn't appear as though the UK has enough ventilators.
All right, Nicole, thank you very much for your insights there. Nicole Johnston joining us live there from London. Well, in Europe, Italy remains the worst hit country. It recorded its first coronavirus death at the end of February. In the past 5 weeks, the death toll has climbed to over 16,000 people. 3,600 new cases were reported on Monday, the lowest in almost 3 weeks, bringing the total to more than 130,000. Nearly 23,000 people have recovered. CGTN's Nicole Eng has more details.
Medical workers in Italy exhausted by weeks and weeks of fighting this pandemic. Doctors afraid of getting infected or worse, infecting their family members.
You should know that every time we work, it's our choice, a choice we make every day. We're not heroes and we're afraid too.
At the epicenter of the outbreak in Lombardy, nurses saying they cannot see the light at the end of the tunnel.
We
want to make it clear that we are truly living as if we were at war, a war of which we cannot see the end right now.
But Italian authorities say the worst could be over. The rate of infection has been slowing down. On Monday, the country saw its lowest increase in cases in 3 weeks. Fatalities have been falling for the past 10 days, and the number of ICU patients has continued to drop.
I would like to emphasise that for the third day in a row, there's been a decrease in the number of patients in intensive care units.
Officials are hopeful this downward trend will continue. A sweeping lockdown ordered last month that saw businesses shut and people told to stay at home will be in effect for another week. It's not expected to be lifted anytime soon. In nearby Spain, the lockdown has been extended to April 25th. The country is now home to the most cases in Europe, with over 130,000 reported. More than 13,000 people have died. That's around 18% of the world total. But the numbers have been falling. The country saw a 3% increase in cases on Monday, down from 22% 3 weeks ago. The health minister thanked his people for their hard work.
The state of emergency and all the measures that the government of Spain has adopted and the exemplary accomplishment that citizens have shown of these measures have allowed them to work and have benefited Spanish society.
Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez earlier this week said Spain may be close to passing the peak of infections. Health authorities were cautious in echoing this optimism.
It's true and important that we need a couple of days to pause for stabilizing of this epidemic information, but it's true that this data confirms the downward tendency that we have been observing.
European leaders have been calling for coordinated action to tackle this crisis. German leader Angela Merkel said the challenge ahead was unprecedented.
I want to say that, in my view, Europe, the European Union, is facing the biggest test since its foundation.
The bloc continues to fight a war on two fronts, with hospitals struggling and the economy forecast to slide into recession. But it's hoped the slowdown in infections in some of the more severely affected countries will signal the beginning of the end of this crisis for the continent. Nicole Ng, CGTN.
Well, let's check in on Africa, where the number of COVID-19 cases continues to rise. There are now over 9,000 confirmed cases in 52 countries. As the number of cases continues to rise, unfortunately, so does the death toll. Data from the African Center for Disease Control and Prevention shows the death toll in Africa stands at 487. However, 913 people across the continent have so far recovered from the coronavirus. Let's now take a look at the number of cases per region. Northern Africa continues to report the most confirmed cases on the continent. The region has nearly 4,500 confirmed COVID-19 cases. Algeria currently has the most reported cases, followed by Egypt. In West Africa, Burkina Faso has 364 confirmed cases. Senegal has also seen a rise in reported cases. As the virus spreads, Senegalese authorities have granted Chad's former president, Hissène Habré, a 2-month leave from prison. The jail will be used to hold new detainees in quarantine. Habré was convicted of war crimes and crimes against humanity in the AU-backed trial. The trial was held in Dakar in 2016. In Central Africa, Cameroon has over 600 confirmed cases. The DRC comes in a distant second with 161 confirmed cases. Meanwhile, Sao Tome and Principe confirmed its first 4 cases of the coronavirus on Monday. The East African countries of Kenya and Rwanda are the only ones to pass the 100-case mark in the region. Kenya, which has the highest number of cases in the region, has implemented stricter measures. Transport in and out of the capital, Nairobi, has been banned for 21 days. This includes all road, rail and air movement. These measures have also been implemented in the counties of Kilifi, Kwale and Mombasa. Movement will still be allowed for those living in the mentioned areas. And let's take a look at the cases of COVID-19 in Southern Africa. South Africans are currently operating on a 21-day lockdown. The country has the highest number of cases in Africa. Authorities hope a lockdown will help stop the spread of the virus. The World Health Organization's Director General Tedros Ghebreyesus has strongly condemned racist remarks made on a French television network. The comments were made by 2 French doctors while debating treatment options for the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. The 2 researchers had suggested that trials could be carried out in Africa to see if a tuberculosis vaccine could prove effective against COVID-19. The doctors have since issued an apology in the wake of a mass uproar. The WHO boss now says Africa will not become a testing ground for any vaccines against the virus.
A comment last week from some couple of scientists who said the testing ground for the new vaccines will be Africa. To be honest, I was so appalled, and it was a time when I said, when we needed solidarity, this kind of racist remarks actually would not help. It goes against the solidarity. Africa cannot and will not be a testing ground for any vaccine. We will follow all the rules to test any vaccine or therapeutics all over the world using exactly the same rule. Whether it's in Europe, Africa, or wherever, we will use the same protocol, and if there is a need to be tested elsewhere, to treat human beings the same way, equally. And the hangover from a colonial mentality has to stop. And WHO will not allow this to happen. And it was a disgrace, actually, and appalling to hear during the 21st century from scientists that kind of remark. And we condemn this with the strongest terms possible. But we assure you that this will not happen in Africa and will not happen elsewhere in any country.
In South Africa, many citizens have continued observing the lockdown that's in place as the country struggles to stop the spread of the coronavirus. However, several others have been arrested for defying the lockdown rules. CGTN's Yolisa Njamela tells us more.
South African roads are largely empty. Many are heeding the call by the president to stay at home. Only essential movement is permitted. Security personnel are up and about, ensuring that the rules are strictly adhered to, and they don't hesitate to arrest those who defy the lockdown guidelines. In some areas, though, residents have expressed exasperation as they say the lockdown is simply impractical for them. It's an absolutely frustrating time for township dwellers here, especially those who live in shacks. They say they want to fully observe the lockdown rules, but sometimes it's downright painful to stay inside.
Corona is affecting us. So we are no longer going to work. Kind of problems we're having. We no longer seeing our friends. We're always in the houses.
It's difficult for me because I'm staying in a shack with my family, my kids and my wife. It becomes very, very difficult because we have to bath. All of us in that small room. We have to cook in that small room. It becomes very, very difficult.
Government continues to encourage the South African citizens to adhere by the rules.
Acceding to the call by the president when he said, we need to join hands, we need to collaborate, we need to work together to combat the spread of COVID-19. Let's avoid spreading fake news through our mobile phones because we keep on spreading scary information that we don't have information about.
The lockdown period has also had some positive effects in many communities here in South Africa. One of the major ones is the decrease in crime. The Ministry of Police has issued a statement announcing a decrease in serious and violent crimes since the start of the coronavirus lockdown. The ministry also says there's been a drop in murder and rape cases. Yolisa Njamela for CGTN in Johannesburg, South Africa.
Now, Kenyan security agencies have moved to enforce a presidential decree that halts movement in and out of 4 coronavirus-affected regions. The capital, Nairobi, together with parts of several neighboring counties, are affected. The other counties are Kilifi, Kwale and Mombasa, which are the country's top tourist destinations in the coastal region. Addressing the nation on Monday, President Uhuru Kenyatta said that the new measures are aimed at curbing the spread of COVID-19. He also said the steps are expected to be in place for the next 21 days.
There shall be cessation of all movement by road, rail, or air in and out of A, the Nairobi metropolitan area, and B, the counties of Kilifi, Kwale, and Mombasa.
Meanwhile, Nigeria's commercial capital, Lagos, remains at a standstill following a lockdown imposed by President Muhammadu Buhari. Normal traffic jams are gone, with movement of vehicles being restricted to ambulances and those belonging to security agencies. The same is also being witnessed in Abuja. The lockdown is expected to last for 14 days. Lagos is the epicenter of the coronavirus outbreak, with 101 cases now reported in the West African nation. Some local residents are welcoming the move, although the availability of food and water remains a big worry to some.
And I think it's really encouraging on the government concerning, if you check the other measures, the other countries, especially the Western world are doing, it's really a good policy for us Nigerians. And I know and I hope and pray by the end of the 2 weeks lockdown, we have something to cheer about.
Where I am afraid, how do we eat? If Corona didn't affect us, should we die of hunger?
To Mali now, where about 25 soldiers have been killed in an attack conducted by suspected jihadists on a military base in the northern town of Bamba. According to authorities, 6 people have also been injured. Police officials say investigations into the incident are still ongoing. This is the latest bout of violence to hit the war-torn West African state. The attack in Mali follows another in jihadist-ridden northern Cameroon on Sunday. 2 suicide bombers who are suspected Boko Haram members blew themselves up in a border town in the Central African country. 8 people lost their lives as a result of the attack. Mali has been struggling to contain a jihadist revolt that first broke out in the north in 2012. It has since spread to the center of the country and neighboring Burkina Faso and Niger. You're watching Africa Live. Here's what's coming up in the business. Zimbabwe traders plead for support to access markets during current lockdown. And South Africa revises lockdown regulations for taxis. Welcome back. Now, Zimbabwe is now in the second week of a 21-day national shutdown, whose economic impact on informal vegetable traders has been telling. Many are pleading that a reprieve granted to farmers to deliver perishable goods to markets be extended to them so they can sell their wares once again. CGTN's Mahia Mutua now reports.
The fresh produce market is a well-oiled ecosystem comprising farmers, vendors, and their customers. It's been disturbed by a nationwide lockdown. Farmers have only just been allowed to resume deliveries to markets where activity has been subdued. I met tomato farmers loading tons of produce they'd failed to sell.
Most of the final customers don't have transport to get here because commuter taxis have been grounded. We brought 385 boxes. We are going back with 10. We will try and sell on the way back to the farm, but if we fail, we will squeeze them for seed.
The market where most of their tomatoes would have been taken is shut down. Its usual occupants are worried that they may not stay afloat.
After the lockdown, I will have rent and utility bills to pay. School fees will be due soon after. I am not sure how I will meet all those obligations.
She's put up a makeshift vending table at home.
According to the city's bylaws, selling from home as she's doing now is illegal, and so Mrs. Bascolo risks having her goods confiscated if caught by council police. However, she argues allowing for this temporary arrangement may actually help prevent the spread of the coronavirus.
If we can go into the farmers market and purchase vegetables and they allow us to sell from home, it will cut down crowding because we won't be crammed in a small market and I will only have few customers to attend to at a time.
Informal traders here say the lockdown threatens their hand-to-mouth existence. A government minister recently said restrictions may be reviewed to allow a small group of vendors to trade again, while the Ministry of Small and Medium Enterprises has begun registering businesses that will receive financial aid. Traders who are being pushed further to the brink with each passing day hope those interventions materialize soon. Mahia Mutua, CGTN, Harare, Zimbabwe.
South Africa has reduced the maximum number of passengers allowed on public transport. This will be applicable throughout the country's lockdown period in the face of the coronavirus pandemic. Public transport remains one of the biggest risk areas in the spread of the novel disease in Africa's most industrialized economy. CGTN's Angelo Coppola reports from Johannesburg.
The associations wanted permission to assist commuters, specifically to transport essential services workers and social grant recipients.
Transport is the biggest spreader of disease, and in particular coronavirus. Coronavirus, to come to South Africa, came by air. It was transported to come to South Africa. Like everywhere in the world, globally, it came by sea. It will now come by taxis. It will come by trains. It will come by our reckless behavior.
The Transport Ministry has instituted a range of regulations governing how many people are allowed in taxis at one time. It's instructed all taxis to be sprayed with disinfectant and for passengers to wear masks.
We are not safe at all because they don't have sanitizer. They don't, but I do wear gloves and masks before I enter the taxi. It's not safe. I don't have a choice. I have to go to work. I'm working apparently.
Other users have experienced their daily commute differently.
Actually, at the moment, as I've seen, most of the taxis has been sanitized by the individuals who are working towards us. Then it clearly shows that we're going to have the assurity in the future that our safety is guaranteed. And over that, taxi drivers have followed the rules of having more than 7 passengers in the taxi. Obviously, it clearly shows that they are minimizing the rate of carrying the virus.
Our public transport system still pose a massive risk. So even if you're wearing masks, and even if you're reducing your passengers to about 70%, the fact of the matter is that globally, this is a trend where you're going to be having an increased risk of infection.
The Transport Minister announces new regulations for the taxi industry in South Africa, allowing more people onto those buses. But with the bigger buses, they've got to be wearing personal protective equipment, which means masks. Those are going to be supplied by the government. Let's see if the taxi owners keep their vehicles clean and sanitized and adhere to those rules. I'm Angelo Coppola for CGTN in Plain Street at the MTN taxi rank, Johannesburg.
Well, Nigeria has been stepping up measures to curb the spread of the coronavirus. One of the measures has been the imposition of a lockdown in 3 states worst hit by the virus. But there are growing concerns over how to maintain food production to sustain Nigeria's 200 million population. CGTN's Kelechi Emekalam brings us this report.
Fish farmer Joshua Ishaku has spent the past 13 years operating this business in the Nigerian capital, Abuja. He distributes his produce to major stores across the city. But Joshua's operation is being hobbled by the confinement order in the city. Disruption in production and supply, as well as inflation, are causing growing panic on food availability in the country.
The price of feed is already high in the market because people are afraid that prices will escalate. People are afraid that they will not be allowed to go out to do their normal businesses. Those who import feeds will not be able to import. Even the feeds that we do locally in Kwara State, you can hardly source for feeds from Kwara State down to Abuja because of this lockdown. So those people who were fortunate to have feeds in their stores will have to hike the price in order to take advantage of the situation, and that will tell on the farmer.
The Nigerian government's been making effort to diversify from its oil-dependent economy to focus on sectors like agriculture. A good move as the country's 200 million people translate to high demand for farm produce. The central bank rolled out 75 billion naira, just about $195 million intervention as loan to farmers. But many, like Joshua, are yet to benefit from it.
Some 8-10 years ago, I was introduced to a microfinance bank. And with the enthusiasm and zeal I had to grow the business, I was asked to pay 30% of 2 million naira that I needed to put into the farm. And, you know, as it were, up till today, I have not gotten that loan that I paid for. It turned out to be a scam. I have not gotten any such intervention since I started farming business.
Now, food insecurity is a rising concern in Nigeria. Funding and infrastructure deficit remain major challenges. More so, Boko Haram's insurgency in the northeast has disrupted farming in the region. Without timely interventions to boost food production, no less than 7.7 million Nigerians may experience severe food shortage in the coming days. Kelechi Amekalam, CGTN Abuja, Nigeria.
Well, it's time for the sport on Africa Live. Here's what's coming up. Physiotherapists speak of their worries as the COVID-19 pandemic bites.
How would you create your legend? On the fields, on the tracks, in the arenas of Africa. Were you born to be a player? Could this moment be yours? Sports Scene. Find your game.
Well, we begin with football news, where U.S. prosecutors announced new criminal charges against two former executives of 21st Century Fox Inc. and others stemming from a long-running investigation of corruption surrounding FIFA, football's world governing body. The former Fox executives, Hernan Lopez and Carlos Martinez, were indicted on wire fraud and money laundering, along with Gerard Romy, former co-CEO of Spanish media company Imagina Media Audiovisual, and Full Play Group SA, a Uruguayan sports marketing company. This has been part of an ongoing investigation that the U.S. prosecutors have been on since 2015 that saw the then FIFA president Sepp Blatter, along with then UEFA president Michel Platini, receive lengthy bans from football. Well, as the coronavirus pandemic ravages the sports world, concerns abound for those working closely with athletes on a daily basis. Physiotherapists are key support